Today we're talking about something deeply alarming. Los Angeles, the city of dreams, is facing a nightmare in reality. Known as the hub of Hollywood, this city has been destroyed countless times on screen by earthquakes, tsunamis, and alien invasions. But now, the real world has taken a devastating turn. Flames have consumed Los Angeles, and the images are truly heart-wrenching. In the Palisades area, a fire tornado was captured, an absolutely terrifying sight. Another shocking video shows a man trapped in his home as flames surround him. Thankfully, firefighters rescued him just in time, but not everyone has been that fortunate. Tragically, 24 people have lost their lives, and the numbers keep rising. The wildfire has burned over 40,000 acres, destroying 12,000 buildings and displacing more than 180,000 people. Evacuation notices have been issued to nearly 200,000 residents. This disaster has caused an estimated $50 billion in economic losses. And this isn't just one fire. Several fires have erupted across the city. The fires began on January 7th in Palisades and quickly spread to areas like Eaton, Hearst, Kenneth, and more. While some fires are now partially contained, others are still raging. The question we must ask is, why are such devastating fires happening in January, a month when Los Angeles usually sees the most rainfall? To understand this, we need to look at the bigger picture: climate change. Scientists have been warning us for decades, and now we're seeing its effects in real time. In 2023, the global average temperature reached 1.48 degrees Celsius, above pre-industrial levels, breaking the record for the hottest year in history. And it didn't stop there. 2024 has already surpassed it, becoming the hottest year ever recorded. Southern California, in particular, experienced its second hottest month ever in October 2024. No rainfall since July, combined with record-breaking heat and the infamous Santa Ana winds, has created the perfect storm for wildfires. But this isn't just a freak event. It's a result of decades of inaction on climate change. Let's dive into science. The Santa Ana winds, low rainfall, and dry vegetation are natural contributors to wildfires. But what's causing these conditions? Experts like Peter Kalmus, a climate scientist, have been vocal about the role of fossil fuels and global warming in exacerbating these disasters. According to him, these events are not coincidences, they're consequences. In 2023, the United Nations Climate Summit, COP28, discussed phasing out fossil fuels.
COP28 delivered some genuine strides forward, tripling renewables and doubling energy efficiency. A framework for the global goal on adaptation, operationalizing the Loss and Damage Fund, and making an initial down payment. At every stage, climate action must strive forward, side by side, with human development, dignity, and opportunity.
But by COP29 in 2024, data showed emissions actually increased. Promises were broken, and we're paying the price. It's a harsh reminder of how far we are from meaningful action. Wildfires aren't always harmful. In fact, some ecosystems rely on periodic fires for balance. This concept is part of fire ecology. But what we're seeing in Los Angeles goes far beyond natural cycles. It's a wake-up call for all of us. Despite the devastation, the bravery of firefighters and the resilience of communities give us hope. But we need to act now, individually and globally, to prevent such disasters from becoming our new normal. In California, especially during the dry season, a single lightning strike can ignite a wildfire that spreads rapidly due to the hot, dry, and windy conditions. However, human activities are responsible for the majority of these disasters. Campfires left unattended, sparks from power lines, and even intentional arson. According to CAL FIRE, humans are behind 84% of all wildfires in the state. What's more alarming is the increase in both frequency and intensity of wildfires over the past few decades. Climate scientists have long warned that global warming, caused by rising temperatures and earlier snowpack melts, has extended fire seasons. What used to last 5 months now stretches to nearly 8 months, with some fires burning year-round. The socio-economic impact. California is the most populous state in the U.S., and wildfires leave an enormous toll on its people and economy. Entire neighborhoods are turned to ash, businesses destroyed, and farmlands devastated, leading to food shortages and massive financial losses. Over 180,000 people have been displaced, while others face skyrocketing insurance premiums or are unable to rebuild their lives. Additionally, the health impacts are severe. Thick smoke blankets the air, posing risks to children, the elderly, and those with respiratory issues. Wildfires also release massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, exacerbating the greenhouse effect and creating a vicious cycle of climate change. Environmental devastation. The fires don't just affect humans. Entire ecosystems are destroyed, forcing wildlife to flee or perish. The loss of vegetation means fewer trees to absorb carbon dioxide, further worsening global warming. Why are wildfires becoming more common? Wildfires in Los Angeles this January stand out because they're happening in winter, a time of year when the region normally receives the most rainfall. But Southern California experienced record-low precipitation this year, paired with powerful Santa Ana winds that dried out vegetation, turning the landscape into a tinderbox. Experts like climate scientist Peter Kalmus emphasize that this isn't just nature, it's a direct consequence of climate change. Global temperatures are rising, and 2024 has officially surpassed 2023 as the hottest year on record. In Southern California alone, no rainfall was recorded from July to October, and temperatures broke multiple heat records. The ultimate solution lies in combating climate change, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, transitioning to renewable energy, and adopting sustainable practices are no longer optional. They're essential. Governments and corporations must take accountability and act urgently. At the individual level, simple actions can make a difference. The fires in Los Angeles are a grim reminder that the time for action is now. Wildfires don't just destroy, they displace, devastate, and demand resilience. Together, we can build a future where such disasters become less frequent. In many countries, major oil and gas companies have known for decades that their actions would lead to irreversible climate change. Companies like Saudi Aramco, Gazprom, and ExxonMobil have profited immensely from fossil fuels, but their actions have contributed to global warming. What's alarming is that these corporations understood the consequences of their activities, but chose to ignore or downplay the threat. Historical documents uncovered by climate investigator Rebecca John reveal that, as early as the 1950s, fossil fuel companies were aware of the damage they were causing to the planet. In fact, they actively funded efforts to suppress the truth about climate change. The Air Pollution Foundation, supported by oil companies, denied the existence of climate science and misled the public about the role of carbon dioxide in global warming. They also funded influential scientists like Charles Keeling, who was working on measuring carbon dioxide levels. However, even with this knowledge, the industry continued its harmful practices. The fossil fuel industry and their lobbyists successfully delayed the transition to renewable energy for years. They even patented technology for electric cars in the 1960s, but lobbied against government funding for such advancements. For decades, companies like ExxonMobil claimed that human activity was not responsible for climate change. It wasn't until 2008 that they admitted the reality that human actions were driving global warming. By then, however, the damage was done. Peter Kalms, a climate activist, argues that in order to address the climate crisis, we must dismantle the power of billionaires and corporations that continue to hinder progress. He cites examples like the Mountain Valley Pipeline project in the US, which was revived despite protests after corporate donations influenced politicians to support it. This donation business model is spreading across political parties, from Democrats to Republicans, and is actively supporting projects that harm the environment. Peter Kalms suggests that global civil disobedience is crucial to breaking the cycle of corporate control. We need to hold these billionaires accountable for their role in environmental destruction and demand policies that protect our planet. If you live in affected areas, raise your voice and take action. Every small step counts in the fight for a sustainable future. What are your thoughts on the solutions mentioned? Let's discuss in the comments below.